Chapter 11. How to Hold the Space. It makes such a difference to have someone who believes in you. Winnie the Pooh. The most effective way to nurture your child's emotional well-being is to hold the space. Every time you're immovable in the face of your child's unbridled emotion, your child gains strength. Every time your child disrupts your own stability, you both weaken. Your child is the greatest threat to your own emotional well-being. Your child is a part of you. You have invested mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially in raising this individual. She is a reflection of you. Your child stimulates strong emotions inside of you. Your emotions play a role because of your connection and your investment. If you cannot manage your own emotions, your child will not be able to manage hers. There is no way around that. I have come up with an acronym to guide you through the steps of cultivating emotional regulation in your child. To help your child manage her emotions, use LIVE. Listen, identify, validate, empathize. Listen. Listening is more than what you do with your ears. Listening to your child is more than hearing words they speak. Listening includes observing what her body is communicating. You need to listen to hear the message the emotion is conveying. Generally, behavior is the first indicator that your child is activated. When your child is affected, step back from the situation. Take note of what is going on. Be a detective. The behavior is a symptom of what is happening inside your child. Listen to yourself. Take note of how you are feeling inside. Do you feel a strong emotion coming on? Do you want to act quickly to change what is happening? Can you keep your cool? Do not react to the behavior. Reacting includes any emotional response by you. You can tell if your response is emotional if you get defensive, upset, agitated, or impatient. You are now activated, and your emotional energy rises. This energy is going to want to do something. How you manage this energy contributes to your child's emotional success. Reacting is when you only focus on the behavior. Targeting the behavior alone misses out on a very important step in learning how to manage emotions. Yes, the behavior may be unacceptable or concerning, but if the behavior becomes the focus, you are not hearing the message. Think of a time when a boss, family member, or partner focused on your behavior and not your situation. Did you feel understood and supported, or did you feel defensive and misunderstood? The situation is no different for your child. Your child is doing her best. She needs your help through this moment, not your disregard. Use her behavior for cues that can explain what might be happening to her. Listen to understand your experience in the moment. Listen to understand your child's experience in the moment. Identify. Once you listen to your child's experience, identify the emotions she is feeling. Say, you feel sad. You're angry. You're probably used to asking, what are your feelings? What is going on with you? Your child does not know how to answer this question. Remember, the emotional brain is nonverbal. Your child's mind is limited in putting words to emotions. So you will get the answer that you're seeking. Your child is programmed to mirror you. She will give you the answer that she thinks you want to hear. How good are you at describing how or what you are feeling? How can you expect this of your child? If you bypass this step and go right to trying to manage the behavior, the emotional brain gets grumpy. It says, hey, I guess you didn't hear me. I have a job to protect you. Since you missed my first message, I will send you another message that is bigger, louder, and stronger. Your child's emotion intensifies. If you react to your child's emotions, you add her energy to your own. This magnified emotion is directed at your child. Your child's emotions intensify. She feels out of control. All your effort goes into making her stop because you feel out of control yourself. To regain composure, first tend to your own emotional state. Step back emotionally. Take a moment. Do anything that interrupts your desire to react. It is okay to say you need a moment, but always add, I'll be back shortly. To avoid feelings of abandonment or rejection, when you are ready, identify the emotion. stay with the emotion. This does not mean that you support the reactions of your child or condone the behavior. Instead, you are cultivating self-regulation. The emotional brain does not care if you agree or not with what is happening. It requires acknowledgement to begin to deactivate, to shut itself off. When you stay neutral with the emotion, you communicate that you are not intimidated. You are okay with what is happening inside of her. You are not judging her. You are being with her. When you ask your child how she feels, her emotional brain becomes more activated. You're the person who's supposed to help her through this, so you should know the answer. Or at least, you should be working together to sort this out. It's your job to tell your child what she is experiencing. You have to help her develop an understanding of herself. You are there to nurture an awareness of herself. She does not instinctively know how to do this. She instinctively knows how to need you. She needs you to cultivate the understanding by identifying what it is she is experiencing. To put into words what she is feeling, you must point this out. Even if you are wrong, your child will correct you. Even if you are right, she may correct you. The important point is that you are working on this together. What is crucial is that you identify the emotion, because when you do this, the emotional brain feels satisfied and can begin to retreat. When you acknowledge the emotional brain deactivates. The emotional brain has a job to do. It keeps you alive. It does this by protecting you from threat. An emotion felt by your child comes from her body's need to do something. The something always relates to survival. This does not mean impending doom. Your child's needs include belonging, food, shelter, autonomy, competence, and eventually, independence. It could be for social connection, to prove ability, or to meet basic bodily functions. Either way, your child's emotion is about the preservation of her. The emotional brain knows that it has done its job when you acknowledge that it has spoken. When you do not listen, it will increase in intensity. When you hear it and acknowledge it, it will begin to settle down, to turn off. Using phrases such as, you feel sad, you feel angry, you feel embarrassed. Tell the emotional brain, I hear you. I hear the message that you were communicating. This is how you get your child to begin to settle. This pushes the rest button on your child. The calming chemistry is released. The thinking brain starts to come back online. Your child starts to come back to earth. You may also need to remove the source of the stimuli. Being a detective can help you identify triggering context. The affective stimuli could be school, crowds, sounds, hunger, or exhaustion. You want to identify and remove the stimulus to the best of your ability. When it is not possible, focus on live and build strength through awareness. This is how your child learns to be with herself. You are modeling how to be okay when feeling intense emotion. You are guiding your child to connect with herself. Connecting to herself and being comfortable in her own emotion is the source of self-regulation. It is her source of peace. Validate. Express understanding of the situation. State that you understand or are trying to why your child responded the way she did. You are angry because. You are sad because. This shows that you get it. When you show that you get it, it lessens the power of the emotion. You heard what was communicated, so there is no need to communicate further. Empathize. I'd be upset too if my friends didn't invite me to the party. Show that it makes sense. Show that the behavior in context makes sense. Again, this does not mean that you agree with the behavior. What it does say is that you are trying to understand why your child became so reactive. This is such a powerful moment for your child. This is the most powerful way to grow strength in your child. Emotion is neither good nor bad. It just is. What we do with emotion can be considered good or bad, but emotion alone is simply an experience within the self. The experience of emotion can be overwhelming. When you react negatively to your child's emotions, she learns that she is a problem. When you help her through the emotional experience, she learns that she is pricelessly invaluable and important. Her importance comes from a solid feeling of connection to herself because she can tolerate the powerful energy that she is. The result: when you follow these steps, your child's mind will start to calm down, her demeanor will start to settle, her problem-solving thinking brain will start to work once again. When you help your child through the emotion process, they regain composure. They have clear and rational thought. This is when teaching can be effective. But hang on. Before sharing your parental wisdom, check in to see what your child can contribute. Once your child regains composure, engage her mind in the problem-solving experience. Guide her through the thinking process. Use the questions that come into your mind to help your child generate her own thoughts and solutions about the situation. Ask, what happened? What would you like to have happened? What could you do differently next time? What could I do differently next time? Her mind will assimilate new information, including lessons learned about her discomfort. When you hold the space for your child, her mind will be less reactive. The next time a situation occurs, she will be less intense because her mind has adapted. You can fill the gaps with your wisdom along the way, but first, lead your child's mind to do the work. You will set your child up for success in the world where emotions are at play every single day. Your child's mind craves learning. It wants to grow, to expand, and to mature. Emotional moments are not setbacks, but opportunities to grow. Emotion is an invitation to understand your inner world. It is an invitation to understand your child's inner world. Your child will connect to herself through the management of her emotions. Story time. The following are 3 stories that illustrate the importance of holding the space. School refusal. The following is a conversation between a client and me. Mom: Mia is refusing to go to school. I can't get her into the car. We missed the first few days because we were still on holiday and she is refusing to go. I'm going to be late for work and I'll get fired if this keeps happening. Me: Oh dear. Mom: Sorry to bother you, but help, please. Me: Hear her words, see her body language, acknowledge the emotion. Mia, I can see you are angry because we missed the first few days of school. Mom: Okay, I'll try. We had talked about this a lot, so this was more a reminder. Elapsed time. Mom: You'll never guess what happened. I told her how I knew she was scared because I could see how badly she didn't want to get in the car. Then I crouched down in the car and acted scared. I said that I know what it is like because I used to be scared of going to school. Then she got in her car seat and said, "Let's go." Thank you. In this account, Mom followed the steps of Liv. Mom listened to her daughter's words and body language. Mia is refusing to get in the car. Mom identified the emotion that Mia was feeling. I see you are angry/scared. Mom validated the feeling by showing understanding for the source of the emotion. I know you're angry because we missed the first few days of school. Mom empathized by showing understanding of the display of emotion. I used to be scared of going to school. Using Liv helped to deactivate the emotion. Then Mia's mind could come up with a solution instead of being in the emotional space. Teen using marijuana. Concerned parents had contacted me because of the mounting stress in their home. Their eldest child, a 15-year-old son, was becoming increasingly distant and closed off. The parents were blaming the behavior on their son's use of marijuana. Every attempt to keep him close was unsuccessful. They had done the usual, including lecturing about the long-term harmful effects of drug use and their expectations for his behavior. The parents asked if I could get their son to stop using marijuana. I made it clear that there is nothing I can do to make that happen unless that was what their son wanted. Okay then, can you make him want to stop using? Was the parents' desperate alternate plea. Again, my message was clear. As parents, they have more power than anyone to influence what their child chooses to do. I could work with the son on creating a connection which would then help with their own. More importantly, if they were to incorporate Liv, they would see a shift in their son's world and in the life of their family. Using Liv helps your children to connect to you and to connect to himself. Children want to please those with whom they have a connection. This is the underlying root to motivating your child to make good decisions. Help him connect to you by nurturing the connection to himself. What was important for this family was the parents' efforts. They traded in ultimatums and contracts to reignite their connection with their son. They needed to shift their efforts from lecturing to listening. Lecturing is a tangible way to help a parent feel better. It is not effective in helping your child unless you want to push your child away. The parents implemented coaching tips on how to navigate the situation. First, they had to manage their conflict with each other. When parents argue, fight, or feel feisty with a partner, children will feel insecure and scared. A child may also feel responsible and take the blame when they cannot make it go away. This always affects a child's behavior. The couple worked on not fighting in front of their son, especially when arguing about him. I explained Live to the parents. I told them to forget about the substance use for the time being. The focus on this behavior pushed their son away. I explained that the substance use was the symptom, not the problem. Substance use comes from dealing with internal pain. To influence change in their son, they would need to reconnect. They would need to start listening. Listen. The parents acknowledged the substance use as a choice their son was making. They reiterated that they still did not agree with his drug use, but they were not going to try and make him stop. This communicated that they were open to hearing his heart. A child is desperate to give their heart to someone who will listen. A child will not give their heart to someone who is judgmental or critical. Identify. The parents were unsure what their teenage son was feeling. According to the teenager, he was fine and not feeling anything. So we went with what we knew. You're angry because we are on your case to stop using weed. That was a given. Not the true source of any drive for drug use, but it worked for now. It showed an attempt to be understanding. When you point out an emotion, you may experience resistance. Don't get pulled in. It's the effort that counts with this population. Identify what you notice in your teen. Refrain from analysis, judgment, or advice. This is a delicate area when dealing with an adolescent. A teenager wears different masks daily. This stage in life is about finding out who you are. The teenage brain is raw and emotional. Validate. The parents expressed understanding that marijuana use was common with teens. Empathize. The parents acknowledged that it would be hard to stop as marijuana use had been a habit for a long time. Also, the client was close to his uncle, who had used for years and was okay. And it would be hard to quit if that was what his friends were doing. The result. The son began to re-engage with the family. He appeared happier. He spent less time in his room and more time with his family. The parents' openness and willingness helped their son to feel valuable. Instead of feeling not valued, he felt warmth and belonging. He felt happier at home. He was chattier and started to feel better about himself. The teen spoke about how difficult it was to quit because of the social and physiological factors. He was still using, and that was not going to change anytime soon. But this was ultimately his decision. What was going to help in the long run was the connection he had to his parents and to himself. In session, he went from a client that would sleep and hardly speak to being chatty and sharing personal information. The agenda was never to make him do or be what someone else wanted. The plan was always to help him feel stronger from the inside out. This is how you empower your child to make good decisions. We all need to feel a sense of belonging, especially the compromised emotional teenager. You cultivate a strong bond with your child through emotional mastery. Lisa's story. Lisa, a 14-year-old ninth grader, came up with an elaborate plan to gain favor with her peers. Unfortunately for Lisa, her plan went sideways. The experience would become a social embarrassment and an economic strain for their family. I received a call from Lisa's mother. What do I do? Dad has been out of town for work and is on his way home. I would rather tell him in person, but if I don't call him, he may hear it from someone else. I don't want that to happen either. What advice would you give? Decide if you want your husband to hear it from you by the phone, or if you want to risk him finding out from another individual. But once he finds out, you must give him the following information. The following was my offer. Dad had a choice. On one hand, he could reprimand and lecture Lisa on all the things that she did wrong. He could add how this was going to negatively affect the family and how angry he was. What was she thinking? The motivation to do this generally comes from a feeling that you need to do your due diligence as a parent. You need to provide a learning experience in the absence of good decision making. What you don't realize is how your emotions can take over. Appeasing your own discomfort can become the primary goal disguised as teaching your child. The result is a child that shuts down. The child's mind feels attacked. Lisa's emotional brain will activate, and her behavior will be about survival. In contrast, if Dad were to use live, Lisa's brain will be accessible for learning, problem solving, and growth. Dad was strong. Dad had wanted to come home and express his anger. He did not. Listen. He used a calm voice to acknowledge that they were all affected by the situation. Identify. Dad identified that he was angry and needed time to work through his own thoughts and feelings. He added that he had to take space to sort through his emotions instead of putting his anger on her. He acknowledged that this may be uncomfortable for her, but he will let her know when he would be ready to talk. Validate. Dad expressed that he understood that the behavior came from wanting to impress her peers. Empathize. Dad was able to say that he understood the need to fit in. He added that he knows that she did not plan for it to turn out the way that it did, and this was a harrowing experience for her as well. Perfect. If you've ever felt like giving your child the most profound lecture on poor decision-making, this is how to do it. Without hardly saying anything at all, simply and calmly say that you are disappointed. Your child's greatest hope is to make you happy and proud. Let your child's mind do the work. Here is why. When you lecture your child on what they did wrong, their mind switches to a state of defensiveness. Her emotional brain kicks in. In this state, your child will feel under threat. The thinking brain shuts off. The emotional brain kicks into gear to protect your child. You will lecture. They will not hear you. When you are reactive and defensive, your child feels responsible. They feel like they are a bad person. Your child feels like she is bad, defective, a failure, a problem. Your child's natural response is to reject this feeling. They may say, "I hate you. Get away from me. I want to run away. You don't care about me." When you react with emotion, your child does not hear anything that you say. They feel your emotional upheaval. Your child feels everything that you say. When you are angry, they feel that. When you are scared, they feel that. When you are sad, they feel that. When you are embarrassed, they feel that. When you are disgusted, they feel that. When you are happy, they definitely feel that. Not only does your child feel that, but she feels responsible for that. Your child is not responsible for your emotion. You are responsible for your own self-regulation. You must tend to your charged emotion first. If Lisa's parents were unable to manage their own emotions, Lisa would have felt that energy. She would have taken on their hurt, their anger, and their embarrassment. Lisa's mental efforts would have shifted to her own safety and survival, not to how to solve the problem. Lisa's parents took the road less traveled. When the typical reaction would have been to punish extensively, they worked to grow their child through nurturance and neuroscience. There were many people that offered their input on how to handle the situation. These parents ignored the rumbles and turned their focus on growing their family. The result for Lisa was that she displayed powerful and mature moments of growth. Her brain moved into a state of problem solving. She went to work to fix and repair all that she had done in a very impressive manner. Help your child to have ownership of her emotions. Listen to your child. She does not need your lectures. Her brilliant mind is waiting for you to set the stage for her growth. This is how your child learns. Nurture what is within her to be the teacher. Start the process by following live. When you hold the space for your child, she will grow in her ability to self-regulate. This leads to making the choices and decisions that drive mature behavior. Chapter 12. The result. A happy child. We will be friends forever, won't we, Pooh? Piglet. Even longer. Pooh. One of the greatest gifts you can give your child is a strong sense of self. You cannot teach this. You have to cultivate the ability to be okay with yourself. A strong sense of the self comes from knowing that you can trust yourself. Trusting yourself comes from knowing that you can handle the emotional world and be okay. Trust comes from a connection to the self. Our emotions have the power to disconnect us from ourself and from others. Emotions can be overwhelming and make us feel out of control. When we can be with our emotions and allow them to communicate, to do their job as they pass through, we grow stronger. The way to connect with yourself is in your capacity to self-regulate. Emotions are like clouds full of rain. The clouds come in, squeeze out the water, and then move along and dissipate. Emotions are not meant to stick around and plague us. The more capable you are at tending to your emotions, the sooner they pass through. Strong emotions are uncomfortable. Our mind wants to get rid of discomfort. We often attempt to get others to take this emotion from us so that we do not have to suffer. Yet no one can take this emotion for you. Your child cannot be the bearer of your emotion. A child is too fragile to be a bucket for an adult. You must be the bucket for your child. If you feel weak, your child will feel more fragile. You grow together as you work to strengthen yourself and become a firm bucket for your child. You grow in trusting yourself. You grow in connecting to yourself. You also do not take on your child's emotions. You provide strength for your child. You make space for your child to experience and tolerate her own emotions. Your strength nurtures her strength. Her own self-regulation fosters strength. The result? A grounded, happy, strong, capable child.